In my clinic, patients often see their ADHD as a broken engine, but neurobiologically, it's actually a high-performance turbine that's simply being forced to run on the wrong fuel. While the world focuses on what you can't do, the latest data reveals a set of cognitive superpowers that neurotypicals simply do not possess. Hi, I'm Dr. Shauna, and I'm a double board certified psychiatrist and ADHD specialist. And today we are performing a clinical breakdown of why your ADHD is actually your superpower. Let's get into it. The first superpower is creative innovation and divergent thinking. Research suggests that the ADHD brain excels at what we call divergent thinking. This is the cognitive ability to generate multiple, unique solutions to a single problem. Most neurotypical brains have a highly efficient gatekeeper in the frontal lobe that suppresses irrelevant data. However, in the ADHD brain, the filter is leaky. While that causes distractibility, it also allows the brain to connect seemingly unrelated data points that others would ignore. This leads to high-level innovation and original problem solving. In a professional setting, this makes you the person who identifies the unconventional solution that others simply cannot see. You aren't just thinking outside the box. For the ADHD brain, the box is a neurotypical construct that actually doesn't exist. Next is the ability to hyperfocus. It is a common misconception that ADHD is an inability to pay attention. Clinically, it is more accurately described as a difficulty with regulating attention. When a person with ADHD is engaged in a task that aligns with their interest-based nervous system, the brain enters a state of deep, intense concentration. In this state, the brain is flooded with dopamine, facilitating a flow state that allows for rapid skill acquisition and extreme productivity. During a hyper-focus episode, an ADHD individual can often accomplish in 4 hours what would take a neurotypical individual an entire workday. The key is understanding that this is a high-capacity engine that requires the right fuel, passion, and interest to ignite. Another significant advantage is high social intelligence and intuitive empathy. Many patients with ADHD are highly intuitive and possess a heightened degree of social awareness. Because the ADHD brain is constantly scanning the environment, a trait often dismissed as distractibility, it actually is collecting a massive amount of microdata. You are picking up on subtle, nonverbal cues, tone shifts, and changes in a room's energy that others miss. This often translates to being personable, charismatic, and highly adaptive in complex social or high-pressure networking situations. This ability to read between the lines makes those with ADHD exceptional at negotiation, sales, and leadership, or reading the room is the primary skill for success. We also need to talk about intelligence and cognitive agility. There's a persistent myth that ADHD correlates with lower IQ. In reality, many of the world's most successful innovators possess ADHD-wired brains. This manifests as rapid processing speed and mental flexibility. Interestingly, in the crisis, the ADHD brain often becomes remarkably calm. While neurotypical brains may go into a freeze state when overwhelmed by sudden changes, the ADHD brain is already calculating the next 3 moves. Because the ADHD brain is accustomed to a higher baseline of mental stimulation, you finally feel at home when things get chaotic. You aren't distracted by the fire. You are the most efficient person at finding the exit. Then there's a superpower of spontaneous energy. The physical and mental restlessness associated with ADHD is actually a surplus of energy that can be channeled into entrepreneurial drive. This always-on energy allows you to pursue multiple projects and maintain a level of enthusiasm and momentum that is contagious to a team. This isn't just hyperactivity. It is a high-capacity internal engine. Statistics show that people with ADHD are significantly more likely to be self-employed or start their own businesses. Why? Because they possess the high risk tolerance and the sheer physical stamina required to build something from nothing. While others burn out, the ADHD brain is often just getting started. Finally, we must look at resilience. Most people with ADHD have spent their lives navigating a world that was not designed for their specific wiring. This constant friction creates a high level of persistence and grit. Because you have had to work significantly harder to stay organized or follow rigid structures, you have developed a bounce-back ability that is rare in the general population. When you face a setback, you don't ruminate as long, you pivot. This cognitive flexibility is exactly what is required for leadership in the modern world. You've been training your resilient muscle since childhood, making you better equipped to handle the high-stakes failures that come with big-picture success. My advice? The key to turning these traits into a superpower is environment selection. An ADHD brain in a rigid, repetitive, or bureaucratic environment will almost certainly struggle. However, an ADHD brain in a dynamic, creative, or high-stakes environment will almost certainly thrive. Stop trying to fix your brain to fit a standard neurotypical mold and instead focus on building a life that utilizes your hyperfocus. Focus on delegating the linear administrative tasks that drain your executive function so you can stay in your zone of genius. If you found this clinical breakthrough of neurodiversity helpful, like and subscribe for more evidence-based health content. I'm Dr. Shauna, and I'll see you next time.